阿弥陀，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛。Okay, treatise on response and retributions. Today we're going to end the part 8 here. I'm adding this prematurely because we want to move on to part 9 straight away. First half of it. Part 8 last week we talked quite in detail about this particular sentence on the importance of institutions and overturning existing, the importance of having a system in place so that the majority of the society can have more peaceful, predictable, stable kind of outcome. Because as you can see, when people trying to, if people do not well thought and be patient with the situations of their society, and they getting too extreme, too over the top in their actions, causing riots, causing a lot of destruction to the people's life and properties, then you can obviously witness this in the news nowadays, and since the ancient time and nowadays, that this will cause many people to suffer, and people who instigate this will have to bear the consequences of causing this to happen. So why do we need to understand the importance of institution? Because we cannot have a proper functioning society without a set rules and regulations. And this going more in modern times is basically a management, a system in place to ensure everyone can contribute, abide by the rules, understand what's right, what's wrong in a consensus way, and then only then we can have a functioning society, because we can't expect everyone to self-regulate, and that's one of the unfortunate part of our Sahara is we couldn't expect everyone to 100% self-regulate, because we have greed, hatred, ignorance, so we go in depth, right, beyond just looking at it superficially. So also people have people who instigate this kind of causing troubles, causing uncertainty in a society, in a country, mostly come out of greed, coveting someone else's resources, coveting someone else's achievements, maybe their developments, their wealth and stuff like that. It can be starting from family, causing the family to break, bigger to a company. This company is functioning well, you sabotage it, stuff like that. To other team, maybe you are working in the same company, you causing trouble to other team, spreading gossip, spreading discord in between the clients. In between the team members. You also causing a lot of unnecessary conflicts and stuff like that by instigating pitting one against another. This also break the rule of no 不要两舌, this is no picking, instigating disharmony, discord in between people. All right, that's not to confuse with being honest and being open about what's wrong, what's the issues. We need to put it into the table, and sometimes we need to let go of our face and do it. That's nothing wrong. That is very healthy in helping the system, helping the society to change, or whatever organization to change, improve the institution, improve the standards. These are needed. These are very important. What I'm trying to say here is malicious kind of mindset, very selfish, very self-centered kind of mentality of doing things just because you want to gain some sort of upper hand against your rivals, or because that person is doing better than you, 紊乱规模以败人功. Basically, you're trying to cause them to lose their job or lose their position, lose their prestige, lose their respect, people's respect, where they did none of what you said. So this is basically a crime and a very heinous act. It's not because that person has done something wrong, you expose it. That's another thing. But if this person has done nothing of that and then we accuse them and all that, then this is malicious. In this case, we don't want to go too far in it. We just want to say what we learned last week. Why do we take such a long time? Is because when we understand everyone has to work, kind of abide by this kind of what we call social contract. This is a very common term used in I think John Locke or something in political theories. The point of me using this kind of word is because when we have a social contract, we can have kind of like a sort of a rule of law in a sense where everyone can like not worried, someone's gonna overstep and someone's gonna sabotage or getting too much out of it. Obviously nothing is perfect. Those things has to change time to time, update time to time, but it has to be done in a way everyone is benefited, not causing one uncertainty after another, and then it goes downward spiral. And you can see very obvious in the Middle East and those regions, they get more and more disorder, and it's a very complicated topic, right? Like there is this talk of big evil, small evil, lesser evil, bigger evil. In a sense of if you overturn this person because his deed is heinous, you end up sabotaging the entire region because there's no one putting on a leash on this region, and it becomes a very lawless kind of a wild west kind of mindset. And if the citizens were not meld together properly with a new form of social contract, something that can replace the previous order, then it will become what you see nowadays, splintered groups. Obviously not everyone's like that, because most people want to live in peace and trying to not to get stirred up by racially motivated, political motivated, or wealth motivated stuff. They're trying to move on with their life. So therefore we need to appreciate when we have actually have a relatively working, of course it's a lot of improvements, but we have relatively functioning kind of a society that does not cost too much, does not incur too much human cost, cost of lives, cost of wealth to get things done. But in our part, right, as a normal citizen and Buddhist, our job is just to make sure we doesn't matter what other people did or what kind of people at the top, whether they rigged the system or doing something immoral, even though it's legal but immoral, irresponsible. Just because the law says so doesn't mean they are right. Like legalizing something, some chemical compounds in the food that are not supposed to be there. Just because it does not harm does not mean it doesn't have long-term consequences. All these things, using smart wordings, smart legal terms to find a loophole, gray areas. That's something we understand as immoral, and because it harms the majority of people for the sake of profits. They use the system in a sense for their own ends. Those people also consider as transgression of this. So don't confuse. We should not sabotage. We should not we should not be blind to what's going on. Right? Some sabotage is very obvious, like outside, foreign. Some sabotage is your own people, the people inside, where they do not use a very common goodwill kind of mindset. They use the system to further their ends, maybe to pass, in the law, trying to pass something by throwing money into it, and that law is actually harming majority of the people because of the senselessness. Those are people are sabotaging, right? They're overturning existing system. Those systems are intentionally, right, meant to help people to have a channel to, put those topics that affects daily lives of the citizen in the public. But because of this greedy corporations, individuals, or greedy or money motivated or politically motivated, I want to get rid of my rivals. So everything my rivals suggest should always be overthrown. That kind of extreme mindset, right? It's no better than foreign sabotage. That's entirely defeating the system. In a way, you're actually destroying the whole point of the system in place. Rule of law, constitution, stuff like that, having minority consent. Because those things are meant to allow, majority to have a say, also protecting minority. At the same time, whatever side of politics spectrum to give a little bit of, have a freedom, right? Doesn't have to be left or right or up and down. It can be in the middle. It can be topic A can work together. Topic B, we are against each other. Topic C, we can find a solution. Topic D, we can actually fight it out properly in vote. Something like that, flexibility. So if it has been perverted to, serve the purpose of people who has more lawyers, who has more power of words at their side, it's 紊乱规模，以败人功. You are sabotaging the system in a way that it's not serving its purpose anymore. It's not making it fair enough for large amount of people. Making very, very, very skewed towards people who has rich, deep access to information, to legal resources, to all these people, and disadvantaging other people because of your own bubble, your own worldview overrides maybe 80% of the worldview. And that's a very unfortunate thing that is happening in a different degree around the world. But there is one part of the world that happens really seriously. So this is also committing this kind of trespassing because you're hurting the society. So I'm going very nuanced now, not just simply follow the rule, obey the law, don't break the traffics. Those are common sense, right? I don't think we need to talk about this too much in here. What we need to talk about is the intention as well, right? If the intention is, remember the whole this institution, whatever system that is, custom, procedure, they are done in collective, in the sense of everyone stands together, living in the same patch of land. They're trying to agree upon something so that they can live in a relative peace, not end up with war, not end up with, tribal hatred and all this stuff. They're trying to overcome that, with this consensus. Custom is formed because of that. From this rock, this stone, this tribe to that tribe, they have a custom, and they have a pact, they have the alliance, stuff like that, and maybe war, uncertainty, and then going back to the alliance. I'm oversimplifying it, doing it unjust, but this kind of a cycle keep happening, and it forms into a procedures, into law, right? Remember, every regulation is written in blood. Those are experience of the past. Some of them should be outdated. Some of them is because they experienced how painful it is to have war, or how painful it is to have, people killing each other in a civilian settings. The riot, racial riot, or mob riot. So those things were put in place so that to prevent this kind of riot, like one ethnic group against another ethnic group. All right. So there are nuances on this. All right. This is wisdom. We need to learn about this wisdom. That's why Taishan Gaimpian is not just talking about cause and effect as in this life, next life. We can talk about current event. How this tribe and this group and that group fight each other. So what is the grievances that was not worked out. So when we have this system in place, it's just to make sure everyone at least have a place to voice their concern, so that there is if enough concern is gathered, that means enough voice or political power. Politics is a matter affairs of the public in a sense. Everyone have that will to change something or ask for something, and that movement is enough. So it will put on the table agenda for people who are supposed to represent them to talk about it. This is how it works. Even in Buddhism, we also have practicing the same thing. Like there's a saying in Sangha, right? The Sangha is the first communist in the world. But the council of the Sangha, people who form the council of the Buddhist organization, as in the Buddhist group, monk group, or monk or lay, doesn't have to be monk, sorry, is also one of the earliest democratic institution. Everyone has to vote upon certain thing that relates to the temple. All right, there is one person, one vote in a sense. But all the profits or anything, the alms, they, like in old days, and even in Buddha's time, because we're talking about Buddha's story as well. Buddha time, the alms that Buddha has asked around the places, the rule is that you don't just, if you got more alms, obviously when Buddha go and ask for alms, everyone will give him 3 bowls of rice, and not just normal rice, premium plus rice that only is meant for kings. It's very obvious. You will do that. Obviously, people who follow his entourage might be getting the good one. And then the other student who lesser known might get normal rice. And then only 2 bowls with lesser dishes. So what they do to make it fair, right, is every time they go back, just because you get more bowl of rice doesn't mean that you can immediately eat more stuff. No. They put it in the whole pot. Mix it together. Doesn't matter what taste they are. They don't dish it. They don't spread it out into a fish. Back then there's no vegetarian, right? Buddhism, vegetarian, just small history interlude. Vegetarian in Buddhism is actually practiced properly in China. And it's like later part. So the original Buddhism, they don't pick, say, vegetarian or not. They're like, they eat what they were given. Of course, they don't hunt, they don't butcher. That's a no-no. That's the first precept, no killing. So they were taking what they were eaten, and then they put everything in one pot. And it's India, right? They have so many beautiful spices. So they just put spices in it, salt or whatever, cook it in one chunk. There is even like back in early 2010s, there's a group of Sangha in China that they actually follow 叫做头陀行, which means the practice of it's like asceticism light. Like Buddha's before he became Buddha, he practiced extreme asceticism where he tortured the body just to find a way to get enlightenment. But this one is not that extreme. It's still very hard, but they will still eat per day. Like all this Baguanzai. I think you witnessed that in the Houston Dharma session, the retreat. The 8 precepts, right? Those are modeled after the precepts the monk has. So going back to the point, in Buddhism, the Sangha, which is the group of council of monks in Buddhist. Originally, it means that. It also means lay Buddhist, but in the narrow, direct sense, literal sense, Sangha has a group of monks together, and they ask for alms. They throw everything in one pot, and then everything was cooked together, and then they spread it evenly to everyone. And they cannot look at the food and say, oh, this is tasty or not tasty. The rule is that they will always look at the food, but not like 3 seconds or something. It's very strict. They just eat. And when they eat, they cannot pick. They cannot say this is too sour, this is not sour enough, this is that. Obviously, health reason is different. That's fair. But if it's your preference, no. Because you're supposed to liberate yourself from the 5 skandhas, which is, 色受想行识, physical form, the body, all the senses, your feeling, your thought, your the mental activity, the endless stream of thoughts means number 4. Number 5 is your consciousness, not getting bound by this. So this is one of the practice. So it's very detailed. Back to the point here in relation to this, those systems were set up to achieve the goal of getting enlightenment. But at the same time, it's also a group of people, and it's not just 5 people like you and me and another 3 person. It's 2,500 people with him every day. It's not a small model. It can be a small company, right? So how did he manage that every single day? Hence, he has to set up sangha, precepts, rules that everyone follow. First person who do that is himself, Buddha. He do that. Everyone already seen that for a few months before he opened his mouth and say, this is what we should do. Of course, everyone will follow. Buddha already show you one by one, hand to hand, every single day he do that. He didn't just think about it, trying to control you and then put some restriction. He do that because he understand you need this for enlightenment. So even in Buddha Sangha, we also have rules. In China, same thing. Like we mentioned it last week, like Bai Zhang Qi, Venerable Master Bai Zhang, Master Bai Zhang. He was one of the, I think, Lü Zhong, which is the school of precepts. And what he learned is that when he, of course, all monks have to learn Buddha's precepts, the OGs, the originals. But then you need to adapt to this new environment where now you have a patch of land instead of going out asking for food. So they have a system where they build up, temples, monastery, a collective of make up, shift a home around it. Right? Of course, imperial support, maybe not to every single temple, but majority of the temple, big temples. And they all collectively live together. Now you need a rule. So he codified a set of rules. We call it the rule of purity. This rule is supposed to maintain the purity, the sanctity of the sangha, so that everyone have a peace of mind, put their heart on the path of enlightenment, rather than you eat more apples than me, you have more money than me, you wear better robes than me. Same thing. They're still trying to achieve the same thing Buddha is trying to do. So back in our worldly matter, same thing. We're just trying to achieve some sort of, those disadvantaged people has at least a bit of support, and disadvantaged people will be able to bear more burden because they are living well, right? Indulging in, so this is education, right? If we only talk about technical stuff and talk about, science, mathematics, those hardwares, but you never give them a proper software, it becomes a shell. You function like a machine, but you have no soul. What is soul? Love, taking care of one another, right? Community, brotherhood, those things are gone. Yeah, because everyone's like a machine going to work every day just to get money for the sake of getting more money, just to buy a bigger, better, newer version of Lamborghini. Of course, that is not the case to 90% of people. Everyone's trying to get by so that they can support their family, trying to support their lifestyle in a sense. That's fair, but that's why we have a system where you have a leeway to enjoy it, and then you also need to contribute. So this is why it needs to be, it's a society kind of thing. So we respect this because we respect the wish of the society, wish of the people, collective wish of people to have a peaceful coexistence, to have a fair dealings with conflicts, because we cannot, in all honesty, say that we have no faults. People do mistakes, sometimes crimes. That's why we need to do it properly. And it has to come from education perspective. So all these things, these are collective wish, like universal wish. So that's why we have this system in place. It should be from this point of view. Of course, on top of that, there are personal desires to control, to get more power. And if you're in a different platform of political system, you may be able to one person dictate everything. That's another problem. But doesn't matter what kind of form it is, it cannot leave the consensus of the majority. Because in the end of the day, you need to rely on them. So in the system, we need to learn about, we need to maintain our, we need to understand, like, cannot be too arrogant, cannot be too self-absorbed, so cocooned into some sort of, like I say, your own bubble, and it's supposed to be, how to say, that's why when you understand why, when you understand how important it is and consequences of not having a solid pact in between citizens or the community or the people in the organization to protect, improve the system, right? Being honest, open, but also, not breaching the rules just because, you feel more superior than other people. Those things need to be learned, and normal people will usually do it in the pace that are understandably, everyone understand why this is not right, and we're trying to fix that, and then it takes time to do it. So we still need to abide by the rules, because abide by the rules helps us to have a peace of mind. So we don't have to predict, this person might be, might not be. We understand that this will be dealt with in due time. Maybe there's a loophole, we can fix it. So that's the mindset we need to have. Be patient, and we also need to have, voice out concerns, but be patient. Don't don't allow too much pride in it. It becomes too self-centered, and then you forgot. You also end up causing the trouble for others as well. Just because you have your own set of ideology, and then you impose, you become the very person you despise in a way, right? So it has to deal with patience. You have to deal with time, and also you can push for it, but always do it right. So there's nuances in there we need to appreciate, right? But even Buddhist precepts, there are times you need to, as long as it's not intentional, you understand 开着吃饭, you need to open. Sometimes you need to open up these precepts because of the situation. And then 吃饭, I'm not so sure. 吃 means you need to hold the line. That means you cannot allow it to, you cannot commit this error. And then 饭 means you commit it maybe one time, or not intentionally, or smaller mistakes, just like law. So it's time to relax. It's time to restrict. As long as it reaches the goal of for Buddhism is to reach the goal of purifying your mind, so that you are giving rise to samadhi. Hence you have wisdom. Hence you're able to get one step closer to enlightenment. And in your daily life, you have a more peace of mind, and not breaching the worldly rules, not breaching the precepts, not causing harm to other people. There's the whole point of 5 precepts. It's just not causing harm to other people in different ways. Physical way, killing, no killing. Property, their livelihood, no stealing. Their their purity, their their dignity, right? Means no sexual misconduct, self-dignity and other people's dignity, 2 sides. And then harmonious coexistence between people, harmonious existence between everyone, so that everyone can talk it out. Even have problem, they can talk it out in peace, because it's well-intentioned. So no lying, no double mouth. That means instigating discord between 2 parties. And then, no swearing. It hurts people if you swear it. Of course, I'm one of the crime. I'm one of the prisoner of this. I'm a criminal of this as well. Sometimes it's just emotion, it comes out. That's why I need to work on this. And then no, there's 二口气, and no 花言巧语, no flowery language that has no substance, that confuse people, and deceitful, in a way. Be honest, be true, be earnest. You can have a joke, but not at the expense of other people, or not personally attacking people. Depends on different relationship. Okay, let's not go too much. So that's the point. 仙人不善不是道德，也把您看战律是说老和尚。Alright, so if we understand these, let's move on. To damage or render unusable tools of trade and means of production of other people. Yep. Basically, you making them unable to survive. People need their tools to perform their duty and their job, and to do that to them is basically cutting down their options to survive. And why would someone do that, right? Why would someone wants to do that? Greed, maybe. Jealousy, maybe. Right? Always think about, if someone do that to you, what will you do? Right? If you're a business owner, someone just stealing money from you, or stealing, or causing problem in one of your shop fronts, what do you feel? Intentionally, unintentionally. Right? And of course, these are I'll leave it there. Not much to go on with on this one. You don't want people to do this to you. You don't do it to other people. Damage or render unusable the tools of trade. 损人器物以穷人用. Yeah, pretty much that's it. So we move on to part 9 today. Part 9 talks about concealed unwholesome deeds. So it's like there's a pattern here. Part 8 is blatantly committing evil deeds. So you just do it in the public. So all this is part of the part 8. You do it in opened, everyone can see it, causing chaos, breaking families, hurting people's property and lives, upsetting the order that people rely on to have a peaceful life, and then the damaging people's goods that they rely on for trade to make a living out of it. Now this part 9, conceal unwholesome deeds, it's the other way around. People cannot see it. Maybe it's not in action, maybe in thoughts. That mind, that piece of that intention, that attitude, that gesture, something is not obvious. So the first one is straight away. 见他荣贵，愿他流贬；见他富有，愿他破散. When you see someone rich, 荣贵, esteem, 荣贵, rich, 富有, right? And then you wish them the opposite, like, hey, I wish you impoverished, I wish you losing all your stocks. So there's no need for that, right? If we understand laws of karma, even that person is not really a respectable person, You understand the law of karma? He's just simply reaping what he's sowed. It's just matter in the past that you might not see. It doesn't have to be past life. It can be maybe when he started, he's still very humble, very earnest, and maybe they change in the midway, but he still did his job. Right? Disgrace, you want someone esteemed and respected to be disgraced. To be honest, this is mostly as well like jealousy at work. There's a saying here. 凡人荣贵皆非偶然，皆其稀有善缘，载值得本，更其祖宗积德，乃能如是。见之者当起追慕之心，非慕其荣贵，慕实追慕其前修也。All exactly what we're talking about. When we see someone rich and esteemed, right, we should not just sucked in with their achievements. That's just results. How do you get to the results? There's no cause, there's no process. How do you get the results? You understand the process, then you respect the process it takes to get to where this person is today. All right. Jealousy is born because of ignorance, literally ignorance. There's no understanding of how this works. We only see it in a very superficial, narrow, human-esque mindset, which is what are we? A little ant in a place called Earth, which is a ball of rock, in comparison to Milky Earth. We're not even a speck of dust. Even Buddha compare our world, a dust, compared to bigger world. Obviously, we also as big as the universe compared to the microbiologies. Like this is the scale thing. So back to the point right now, we're such a narrow mindset, never have exposed to these teachings, and allowing and preconditioned with all these pre-existing problems of hatred, ignorance, greed, arrogance, doubt,贪嗔痴慢, how can one not how can one have a peace of mind? If the person is so troubled by this, how can this person have a positive energy to attract something like wealth or respect? Because their conduct is not there anymore, because their mind is already muddled, right? To get rich, to get esteem, to get esteem status, prestigious status, to get wealthy, to get, wealth that can rival nations. Those are always a result of the past accumulation. It can be many lifetime of accumulation, right? Sometimes you can see someone rely on daddy's money to get by. That means he also has cultivated that kind of wealth in the past. And not everyone is always ill-mannered if they were educated properly. If they were exposed to this teaching, they will always understand, appreciate what they have. If the parents are doing good example, being generous, being able to appreciate what they have, and tell stories to children. Hey, how hard this wealth came to, what are the process his parents or ancestors or grandparents have to go through to set up a business like this that earns so much wealth, right? So this is always education thing, right? Yes, now we know there's cause and effect, but how do we make sure that young generation that inherits this kind of wealth is still, able to hold it, able to have well-mannered? This needs to be taught by example, not just talking. It can be talking as well, give them a story, how it came by, how the wealth came by, and let them exposed to different segments of the world, not just from their, rich bubble, open up. But this one from the perspective of people who witness people like this, oh, so rich, so wealthy, I wish, it disgrace and anything. They don't understand cause and effect. If you have that kind of mindset on other people, you're a person who has no inclinations towards this kind of thing. You literally rejecting yourself, right? Instead of, wanting to learn the process of getting there. Right? You want the wealth, right? You need to learn the process, how to get to the wealth. Understand, process can be conditioned. Like some people say, oh, I also, open up a startup tech company like Bill Gates. Why am I not Bill Gates? It takes timing and everything, right? There's a timing, there's all this stuff. So how do I get this timing and stuff, right? So those are conditions, those are not cause. The cause is something you can't see in the past life. Someone with that kind of wealth cannot be done in one life, unless it's a huge deal. It has many, many lives of accumulation, of giving of wealth, giving of volunteering, their own energy, giving of wisdom, giving of fearlessness, right? So in terms of wealth, there's two kinds of giving. Giving of wealth, basically you give material assistance to people who need it. You set up facilities, infrastructures that people need it, bridge, whatever, workshops, stuff like that. They need to build up their stuff. You're also giving. You need to give, to get. So that person has done that many, many lifetime. And now they're just simply reaping the rewards. That's it. And they are still having that positive attitude, wanting to do stuff. It's very important. You can have a lot of wealth in your potential coffer, but if you're not willing to work on it, you will not get it. Some people don't have to work on it. The money just fall into the lap. But that's because they work very extra hard in the past. So they don't have to work that hard in this life. I understand this mechanism, then we should be at peace. Even I'm poor, living by the streets, begging for money, I'm at peace. Because I understand these rules. And now if I follow the rules by not, stealing, by not committing this kind of petty crimes, trying to steal people's $100, $50, $10, just for the sake of it. And I, even when I'm poor, I have my own dignity and my own bottom line. I live with an honorable, noble mindset. Of course, there are communities with compassionate people to help each other as well. And even when I'm poor, I'm willing to spread half of my food to other people. Like you can see the experiment, like social experiment, where people see that these young, homeless people, even they are given, say, one meal, and they saw other people asking for, some help, some food. He is willing to give half of it to other people, because he's been through this pain of not getting assistance from other people. He does not want other people to do the same. How can these people not have prestige and wealth later in their life, right? If not next life. And having prestige and wealth does not necessarily translate to driving Lamborghini or Mustang, and they have a huge mansion served by many people. No, it can also mean that you have what you need at a moment notice, at your disposal. So that's very important to understand. All right, that means you might not living lavishly, but you have what you need when you need it. Those are wealth. This is called wealth. Things flows to you as you wished. You have the resources to get what you need. So smart way of doing it is when you have the resources to get what you need, you also use that resources to give what other people need. And this circulates around. And this is how the wealthy people continue to have wealth as well. They understand, in a way, the importance of giving. Right? Of course, the return will depend on how pure their intention is. That means how less their greed of wanting more is. If they just genuinely want to give, they give without thinking about it. Give with respect, with dignity, understanding, respecting dignity of other people who received. Then of course they will maintain their wealth. They will maintain that there's input, there's output, right? It keeps going. So now when we look at this, people who bribed, corrupted, they're still living well. People who go on a dodgy route, tax evasion, or doing something that, not really good because they are powerful and rich. We feel angry, we feel pissed, we feel like these people should be punished. But yet they are well and they are there. Why? Because they have so many wealth, so many good deeds they did for others. And they are reaping it right now. They are, of course, because of their unwholesome deeds, they bribe, they're doing things out of the normal way. They will discount their own wealth. It becomes 20% discount of their own wealth. This is a discount no one wants. They're supposed to get 20 million. Now they only get 2 million. It's still 2 million that most people cannot imagine of getting it, including this guy. So this is why wealth is, it's an ongoing thing. If you do it right, and if you curb the greed, understand, I am very blessed to have this position, in this position to do what I'm doing and still live comfortably. I'm now starting to give. I don't want to think about another zero in my account. Maybe instead of sitting on a $100 cushion, now I'm sitting on a $1,000 cushion. That's the only thing. It's still the same butt, it's still the same body. What's the difference? At that stage, it's supposed to be giving out. Right? Sometimes people living comfortably, they have power, they have position, they have wealth, they have respect of the community. And if they're still allowing that kind of greed to overtake it, like, I want to add more zero because I want to finance more stuff. It's very sad. Such a waste of time. All this lifetime of hard work end up with these deeds. So when you understand that karma and what they did in aftermath, they will be punished. they will be, they will be punished to a life of servitude, in the sense of maybe reborn as animal, or poor. Maybe in the later part of their life, they impoverished. They're losing all their funds and assets. People don't trust them anymore, etc., etc. Then you understand. So, of course, not many people can see that. Sometimes they just die and you can't see what's next, But whatever goes around will comes around. And if they, like I say, corrupted 1 million, they will need to pay 1 million plus deposits for every single person that he has coddled the money from, hoarded the money from. So yeah. If you do not have that much wealth, even you bribe 1 cent, you will get caught out. So we already talked about how do we accumulate wealth. But in general, the fortune, how do we cultivate fortune? Buddha has taught us as well. There are 3 kinds of fortune, place to cultivate fortune. The first one is our family, of our parents. 叫恩田. So this is the grounds, foundation, fertile grounds of cultivate our good fortunes. Not just money, but in many ways, being, respect, gratitude towards our parents. Because of the gratitude, you naturally want to do things to help them, right? So both physically, mentally, keep them happy, be there for them. So those people who are willing to take care of their parents, love their parents, help them, if we're Buddhists, help them to understand Dharma, so that they are at peace, no fear of death and stuff. This is number 1. Everyone can do it. Most people can do it. If someone doesn't have parents in living, your guardians, your elders that take care of you, they are like your parents. Number 2 is people who. Number 2 is the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So this fertile ground for cultivating good fortune is called the plot of respect. The plot of respect. The first one is plot of gratitude. So farming plots. 敬恩田敬田. So the plot of respect means this is this place where you can farm your good fortune. You farm from a heart of respect towards the teacher, basically. Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha represents the teacher. And remember, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha refers to the core essence of it, not the image. You don't just walk to a monk and just offer. That is also a good way to start, but that is not the point of taking refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. The whole point of taking refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha is to take refuge in your true nature, your purest nature. That means you have to go back to your purest nature, not polluted by all these things, by all these what you see, what you hear, what you think, and it takes time to get there. Dharma as well, Dharma is not just sutra. Sutra is just a way for you to get into the Dharma. It's a tool. So what you need to do is to pay respect to the sutra, because you pay respect to what sutra means. It means that a pathway to understand your true nature, to go back to your pure self. And then the last one is Sangha. The Sangha is just the group of Buddhist cultivators headed by the monk, bhikshu, bhikshuni, the monk and the nun. We of course need to pay respect to the monk. Why? Because they represent people who walk the path through the Dhamma to realize their own Buddhahood. So we understand that, we pay our respect to them because we also want to walk the path. They will show us the path, or their example show us how to do it. Without their example, it's a distant thing. We can't feel it. Even Dharma is here, we don't know how to do it in our current era. So with someone like Venerable Master Chin Kung, why do we respect him so much? Because he showed us the path in this current era. How do you get out of this? Right? And now you need to follow it. Paying respect is by following it. Not just giving flowers, giving fruits. Those are gestures, but they are not touching the core of it. The core of respect is actually following. Understand, meet problem, encounter it, get defeated a bit, and then come back and then understand better. That's how it works. Yep. Buddhism is all about essence. It's all about substance, not just the form, not just the superficials, appearances. It's all about the substance, not the appearance. All right? Appearance is to remind you of what it means. If you're not taught on that way, we all becomes blindly worshipping things. That's not the point. That defeats the point of the word Buddha, which is enlightened, awakened. Right? Yeah. And if we cultivate right, do it means that as long as we appear respectful, is that enough? Appear, taking care of my parents, like, give some money, buy some good stuff for them. Is that enough? Or, is it enough? Is it enough to just appear respectful, using respectful words, respectful gesture, Amitabha? Is that enough? No. If your mindset still have anger towards them, because maybe they pointed out your weakness, pointed out your problems, or maybe they talk too long, then you already disrespect. In a sense, this is very not cruel. This is very strict, right? Otherwise, we won't be here. We will be already attaining enlightenment. The problem, we aren't attending anything close to that because we are fostering that kind of mindset. That mindset of impatience, the mindset of anger, the mindset of, indifference, ignorance. When they ask for your help, you're indifferent towards them, or you feel annoyed, even though you actually help them physically, but you're mentally like, I don't want to do this, annoying. So, and also towards teacher as well, like towards your instructors, like they tell you to do one thing, like maybe you nian for something, or you should practice this. We don't take it seriously, or we kind of not putting it as number one. Those are really serious self-awareness on that part. Because if the teacher did their job, that's it. They're not liable for your success or failure in this path. They do their job, they're trying to point out the issues, and they have right not to say anything if you are not appearing as concentrating or actually taking their teaching seriously, right? If they see that you actually trying and fail, or you're aware that you're not really serious about it, they're still willing to help you, that means they are very compassionate. That's where compassionate Buddha and Bodhisattva came from. They have every single right not to worry too much about us, in a way. Of course, from perspective of people who cultivate Bodhisattva and Buddha's path, they cannot do that. They always 100% tightly heart to heart to the people. Even that people that he's trying to save do not want to be saved. The heart is always there. Any moment of turning back towards the path of enlightenment, Buddha and Bodhisattva would be 3 steps ahead, ready for this person to come back. This is why their compassionate is so touching. Some people cried right in the middle of Gongxiu chanting, because they can suddenly feel that, this is why Buddha is here. This is why he set up all this system. And this is why he wants us to do this, chanting Amitabha, chanting this, praising Buddha, the ode to the Buddha, Amitabha, Amitabha. Stuff like this are reminding us. And this is those moments that we understand, now I need to be more serious about my practice. Back then you would be like, I need to pay respect to the Buddha. And pay respect to the Buddha or to the parents means give them money, make them happy, give them house, give them car. Buddha-wise, buy more fruits, buy more, donate to the temple. And then every first day and 15th day of the month, pray to the temple. That's it, bye. The rest of the time is my own time. That's good. That's a good way to start. It's better than nothing. Of course it's good. We're not ridiculing this. This is good, but problem is we need to go further. You need to get more intense. Otherwise, you will always stay in the front, in the surface level. The fortune and good fortune, the merit you get is superficial. That means you are still bounded by greed, hatred, ignorance. That means you will still cause hatred. You towards other towards you, because you have that mindset. You have attachment to self. You have the conflicting thoughts as well. You have all this unresolved stuff inside. Just because you cultivate good deeds, it does not help you, because you're not actually focusing on figuring it out and want to figure it out. You can't figure it out is one thing, but you want to figure it out. You want to achieve perfect harmony in your mind and outside. And you want to resolve this tension, this conflicting mind, this hatred, this greed, this craving, this lust, this annoyance, these frustrations, all the psychological problem as well, right? That all humans experience, but you're aware that these things must not be it. I cannot just stuck in this kind of emotions in my life. I'm more than that. So if you have that level of understanding and you seek help and you understand Buddhism that level, then you start to understand this is not just going to the temple, lighting up incense and pray. This is something I can get and dedicate to his teaching. That's how you pay respect. Same goes for parents. If I really want to help them, I can't just buy a house. Well, I mean, of course you can buy a house. That's important, and it's not easy. I can't even do that, right? Of course it's awesome. You're able to let them live comfortably without fear, and then you're doing a good job as a upstanding society member. Those number one steps always must be done. I haven't even done it properly, and I need to do it. But then you also need to think about, beyond this, you can't just leave them like that. You need to introduce the Buddhism to them so that they can truly be at peace. Because no matter how well taken care they are, you are not fully taking care of them until they willing to take up the name of Amitabha and actually want to go to Pure Land, or a path they can confide in, and peace of mind, no fear of death, no fear of sickness. Haven't done your job as a son or a daughter until they actually have the affinity to, have the wants to do it. Obviously, it depends on their affinity to the Buddha's path or the path of sages, right? It can be, other religions as well. But from our perspective as Buddhism, of course, we want them to align with that, going to Pure Land or going to enlighten. Of course, in this way, Pure Land is the best way. If Buddha himself introduced his father at the end of his life, his father's life, at the deathbed, asking his son, is there any way I can practice so that I can go to a better place, so I can attain enlightenment quickly? And Buddha say, chant Amitabha, Amitabha Buddha, chant Amitabha Buddha. He himself introduced the best to his father. That's obviously right. You want the best for your parents. You always give the prestige, most premium stuff to them. So same goes for us. So treat us as equal as his father. So back to the point here is the envy, the rage, and esteem by wishing them impoverished and disgraced. No. And then this is entirely opposite of that mindset, right? And this has a practical effect. It's not just simply from perspective of psychology and anything. Your life will be safe. Your world will be much easier. Your way of seeing the world will be lighter. You won't be as negative, as worried like that, in a sense. You will be more positive even things are going against your will, or you have that resilience. Because you're no longer stuck by this kind of, helplessness. So those kind of mindset, right, is this clause saying is also coming out of insecurities of that person, helpless. They focus too much on other people, not on themselves. If you focus on yourself and you work so hard to improve yourself, you don't have time to look at someone maybe your colleagues, or maybe your high school friends. Oh, now they are rich. Now they are getting Order of Merits from King Charles or whatever, or they are Medal of Honor, stuff like that. You don't have time for that. You congratulate them. If you're smart, you pick up what makes them so well. They have to have some qualities that people want to work with them and put their trust, their business to them, so that they this is connection things, right? People want to do business with you because you must have some quality that they want to see. Doesn't matter what you know about them is negative or not, but they must have some part that is actually good, that people willing to work. If you can't see that, then we fail, right? We wasted our energy on looking at people's weakness. If we look at their weakness, we only use that as a cautionary tale, and then we move on. We don't get stuck into it. That's another thing. That's the right thing to do. The wrong thing is this one, cursing people, hope they bankrupt, hope they be disgraced, hope they some scandals coming out of them. That's not right. Right? If their attitude, behavior has problem, we should instead hope they will meet someone that make their heart less cold, melt their heart, make them more compassionate. It might sound very cringy and stuff, but it is a good thing to have, isn't it? Sometimes we need to have a certain level of purity in our heart. People call naive. It's important to have that. Right? If we all become cynical, become very bitter, and become very negative, and all in the name of reality, which is not true. Reality can change. Can be bad and good. It's not always negative. So this is something we need to really reflect on. All right. Otherwise, whatever we do, we just follow the script. There's a saying if you build tens of Master Li, which is teacher of Master Cheng Kong, Mr. Li Ping'an Lao居士, he say that if you build a temple and you wear something like a Buddhist monk robe, you appear as a monk, or people respect you, stuff like that. But if your mindset, your heart is not emulating the Buddha's action and deeds, you're not learning from your teacher, basically, it's useless. You will still go to whatever 6 realms you have, whatever you should be going. 该怎么生死就怎么生死，该怎么遭难还是怎么遭难， right? You will still have to follow whatever the path you need to follow, based on your karma, because you have not purified it. Buddha and Bodhisattvas, their job is only 2 things, 开和示, right? It's to start the whole, movement of changing your path towards better and ultimately enlightenment. And then Shi is showing you how to walk this path. So they start the path by walking himself, and then he instruct you in the form of sutra, how to do it. They record it as sutra. How to achieve what they achieve. That's their job. That's it. They're finished. And they staying. How long they stay in this world depends on how earnest we are willing to learn. That's why Buddha only stay here for what? 45 years, 49 years, 50 years, plus his early time, 80 years. That's how much we can get. He's supposed to stay about 100 years, according to some of the, I forgot where, but 100-ish years. But he kind of Mara kind of whisper in his ear and say, oh, not much people will follow. Some people ignore it. Something like, could you go early? Mara being Mara. And Buddha was shed a drop of tears, and then he go into parinirvana 20 years earlier than expected. So it's supposed to stay quite long, but maybe we are not learning properly. Our attitude is not good enough. Right? So their job is only these 2. They have no other. They don't want wealth. They don't want fortune. They don't need that. They can conjure it out of their hand, literally. because they have their merits, they have their fortunes. They don't need your wealth. They don't need your respect. Of course, we need to respect them, but they don't need your respect. They can appear as beggars. They can appear as anyone else. They can be invisible to you too. Why do they show up to you? It's because they only want to show you the path by themselves setting as example and tell you how hard it is, but doable. And how do you do it in your current era, your current technology, your current kind of a mindset? You know, right now we have one person who's showing us that, right? Master Ching Kong and his students. Same thing. So we too will be that person as well, in a lesser degree. Doesn't matter. We can do how much we can do, and then we go back, and then we do it again and again and again and again and again. Right? In the Buddha story, I did mention Buddha has already appeared 8,000 times. No, I say it. It was mentioned in, I think it's 法华经, in the 法华经, I forgot the Sanskrit name. I'm so sorry. Flower Adornment Sutra is 华严经. 法华经 is the Lotus Sutra, I think. Avatamsaka. Anyway. Oh, back to this is yeah, Flower Garland Sutra. That's Hua Yan Jing. I'm so sorry. Right, let's move on. Delphan has invoked a mind in his power when he reached the zenith of his career, government career. You know, basically mayor of New York, in a sense, governor of the best, richest, lushest, lushed part of the country, right? It's like you're the mayor of New York or something, most prestigious office. And then he has a thought back then in Imperial China, right? Here's a thought: if I now has a right to adjust the tax rate, I need to cut down the tax. And so he did that, and allowing many people to have a sense of relief. On the contrary, some people, you know, some modern countries, they increased the tax, grain export quotas from their current countries, causing famine of the people. That's entirely opposite. Just because they want to save face, in a way. Oh, I promised that I need to export 6 million tons of grain, even though they have a bad time, bad weather, they can't get as much tons. I'm still going to take it from them to fulfill the quota, so that I can show my face to the international community. I can do it. So those are the problems. Mindset is different. One of them is focus on power, prestige. See, they're chasing that thing, but they're losing it. They lose the respect of that thing. The prestige is not something, say, I am wonderful, so you all should think I'm wonderful. Or I can do this, you should all think I'm good. Prestige is given, a kind of an accolade. Is in everyone understand you as a person who genuinely do this. They respect you in the depth of their heart. They don't even think about it. It just touched them. They understand your action is really genuine, and they do it. They do give you that prestige, just as a tool. It's not because of the medal that makes you prestigious, esteemed, honorable. It's because of your actions that inspire your fellow people and your fellow human, fellow countrymen, or whatever, your fellow colleagues, that they give you this medal so that people can set you as example because you are actually that good, right? And understand how it works. Now we can understand. Now I need to be that person. The process, that mindset, the intention of this person is something I need to learn. In the hard times, they're willing to sacrifice their safety, well-being, comfort to help, you know, this group of people in desperate need of help, right? In Delphan's situation, it's easy for him. He's having a good life. He just adjusts the tax reasonably, so that they understand this year the famine, the crop harvest is 80 tons. Now I'm just going to take 1/5 instead of 1/4, a little bit lesser. The emperor still have his food up back there. You also have a good time getting the salary. Everyone have a good time as well. That's how it should work. Not because you want to have a face on the outside trying to reach the KPI. That's not right. All right. I hope this one, remember, like trying to tell us those blatant evil act is very bad, but nothing is more bad than the concealed one, because those things are sharper. They are hiding, right? It's easy to see something's wrong if it's in the broad daylight. It's very hard if it's hidden beneath your shadows of your conduct. You can't see anything. You can't see your own self without mirror. But these are more dangerous than the blatant evil deeds, because that one can be in your face. You can see that it's a problem. But this one, the mindset, that the anger, that moment of passion, misplaced passion, causing this, that is not right. So that's it for this 太上感应篇. As for the recap of the Buddha story, we will do that after we finish 10 times Amitofo, because Hao has done that already, and let him go. I'll give a very short recap because I forgot to record. But this time, let's finish this one first, properly, with dedication of merits. May the merits and virtues adorn the Buddha's Pure Land, repay the 4 kinds of kindness above, and relieve the sufferings of those in the 3 paths below. May those who see and hear of this all bring forth the heart of understanding and compassion, and leave the teachings for the rest of this life, then be born together in the land of ultimate bliss. Amitofo. 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 is easier because I have the machine. Do this. No. 4 stage of competence. What? 4 stage of enlightenment. Stick to the easy one. This is better, straightforward. So first, we talk about Buddha as when he was enlightened, and before he was enlightened, there are many people who came across him and helped him, right? He came from a very extreme, not extreme, as in he tried every method for the first 6 or 12 years, I forgot. And he started as, a prince and leave his house at the young age of 19. Understand that he needs to come back as a fully enlightened person to help them, not just like this. There's no way he can help any of them from the trouble of death, illness, and the trouble of heart as well, like this. They need to go out. He need to go out and seek the way to find it. So he went and he started learning from 2 of the teachers. As we can show last week, he has achieved top 2, I think, 非常天, top 2 of the roof of the 6 rims. Basically, he reached the highest one can get without getting out of 6 rims. In the 6 rims, he reached the top 2 by practicing from 2 teachers in a span of around 6 years, I think. So the point is, he has the ability, talent, and tenacity to get there, and he already has done that. And his teacher was so impressed, he's one of them willing to give up half of his students' influence to him so that he can teach half of the students he has. And the other one willing to give up entirety of his teaching seat to him. And remember, they have a lot of students under their most prestige. It's like, Einstein, in our sense, in a scientific way, scientific community. Einstein or someone like, someone genius. So he does not accept any of this invite because it does not solve any does not solve the problem of getting out of 6 rims. That means he still have to pass away when time comes. Even that time is very long in astronomical ways, is astronomical numbers. He has to pass away either way, and he still have to stuck with samsara. The other one is, but we must not overlook the importance of having ability to achieve the joy of meditation. In a sense, 禅悦. We sing about 禅悦 in Sangong and all that, right? So, what is the joy of meditation? It's something important. Before you attain full enlightenment, you need this to help you to overcome the. It just makes you very at ease. Why they can sit such a long time? Because they're enjoying. People see that, oh, you don't eat anything, you don't talk anything, now you must be in pain. But no, it's actually joyous thing to do. They don't use their energy wandering. Their mind is focused, and in such a deep level, they're enjoying it. So it's such a wondrous level. However, one do not get stuck in it. If you get stuck, it's very unfortunate. That means they get stuck in that level, and they are not out of 6 rims. So Buddha has the ability not to get stuck, and he move on to start practicing the extreme asceticism, as in he do not eat for months, years, I think, cut down his food intake. And in this journey, many people helping him as well, right? And he started with, there's one of the Buddha story, I think, in a movie format, Keanu Reeves or something, acting as that. There's a snake protecting him from shelter. I'm not surprised if there is actually a snake doing that. I do not doubt it at all, because he's we call it his charisma in a modern way, but he has this, affinity to all sentient beings that make them drop their guards when they see them. They don't feel threatened, angry. They just feel at peace. This is Buddha, right? This is the characteristic of Buddha. no harm. So the 5 precepts, if you hold your 5 precepts to the top level, this is Buddha. That's Buddha. So it's something simple like 5 precepts. If you do it to the top level, you have this effect on people. You don't need to have intention on that. It just happened. Back to the point, he went on and someone saw him, almost fell down to the ground. That's one version of the event. He so hungry and fell down. And this man who happened to cross by the rivers, cross by the forest and saw this noble man, this noble looking man, although he's very skinny, and fell down. He offered some food and he took the food, realized, now I can focus better. Why am I torturing myself? It's too much. It's unnecessary. It's too extreme. And then he kept meditating, and someone else walked by and singing, the lute, and then they talk, pondering about, if the lute is too loose, you can't make music. If the lute is too tight, it will snap. Just nice. That's why it's beautiful, the music. And he just got inspired by this, So he just moved on and continue his practice with food. He don't take this kind of extreme method anymore. Middle path is born in this way. And then he move on with his practice. And one day, and then as he recovers, there is this lady with Sujana. Yeah, it's a very young woman named Sujana, and she has delicious rice porridge cooked up, ready for this the Buddha, the Prince Siddhartha, and he offered it to him, and the this version of the event says that the Sujata says that I have before passed by and taught you a tree. In a sense, she taught Buddha is a tree god back then. And in the village, they believe if you have any wishes, ask the tree god, and they will grant you the wishes. And she maybe pray for pregnancy for her husband. So they conceive. She already conceived, and she has good news. So she's repaying, like Huan Yuan. She's repaying the kindness. And so she offered the delicious, best quality rice porridge to the Buddha. And the Buddha has accepted it and recovered even better. And then he woke up, he stand up and walked towards different path, towards the Bodh Gaya area where he will attain enlightenment. Found a good place, sit down. When he was about to sit down, there is another man passed by carrying loads of what's it called? Twigs. 怎么讲? Not like straws, yes, straws. It's carrying straws. 2 bale straws at his back, behind his back. So he saw this, complexion of Buddha, such, noble, such. He was drawn in. It's like his charisma, and then he just offered, make up a straw mat on the spot so that the Buddha can sit on the straw mat comfortably. That's the version of the event I'm reading on. That's very interesting. And he sat on the straw mat, and before he do that, and said, until my legs dry up, my blood dry up, I will not leave this seat. Even my blood and leg is dry up until I achieved this solution, this enlightenment. So his resolution is, he's very resolute. He's very firm in his determination to get there. And he did that. He made it. And the rest of the event has been mentioned in the past talk, we already talked about. So now our focus should be on after he gained enlightenment, right? There is 2 merchants pass by offering their wares, their best stuff to him, to Buddha, fruits and stuff like that. And these 2 merchants, because they saw someone after enlightenment, he exudes that sort of confidence and that aura of joy. He's looking very happy and joyous. It's like you found it at last, and eureka moment, and he reached that stage of happiness that everyone get infected by this in a good way. You're infected by the happiness. So he went and offered to this these two merchants went and offered to the Buddha, and they become the first lay disciples. Before the 5 bhiksu, there's already 2 lay disciples of the Buddha. So then he moved to the forest of Mrgadava, Mrgadava, Lu Ye Yuan, in the Chinese translation of the word. And this means the place maybe have a lot of deer park in a sense. And he went there to, start teaching the Dharma. He first thinking, there's so many people in this world with such muddy mind. How do I help them? And there are some people who are actually very clear. Their passion is very little. That means they do not have too much stuff clouding their mind. They are not subject to too many temptations. They're almost there. Like I say, everyone of here, right, the student, especially top student, they have deep foundations, moral foundations, cultivate meditative foundations, then other kind of foundations. They have strong potential. They just need help from someone like Buddha to get the last bit over, right? They all have that deep foundation already. They are very good in their own community. They are top in their own community before they met Buddha. And how it works is when the student went in to join the Buddha, they themselves were teacher before of many students that follow him. Of course, they all follow this student into the Sangha. And this is how it works, right? It's like a connection thing. Everyone knows, oh, this is my teacher who's so reverent and so respected. Now he willingly learned from the Buddha. That means this Buddha must be very powerful, very good, very skilled in his teaching. And they all follow suit. This is how we get 2,500 students. 常随众, as in 2,500 constant student that follows him all the time. The rest is 1 day, 2 days like us, retreat 3 days, 7 days. Not 100%, but it's always good. So back to the point, he went there and met 5 bhiksu. And these 5 bhiksu, right, story of them is quite famous. They were used to follow Buddha when he's at the stage of experimenting extreme asceticism. They saw like, okay, this is the guy who really determined to get enlightenment. We should follow him. And these 5 persons, before they become Shramana, which is monk, monk in these terms does not mean Buddhist monk, because there's no Buddhism back then yet. There was monk as in the Indian sense, as in people who seek the path, whatever the path that is, cultivators. And they follow him and become a monk and sit next to him and practice extreme asceticism of no eating. Before that, they were palace guards, right? They were actually maybe from palace of Shakyamuni Buddha, Prince Siddhartha back then. They follow him to here, and they drop their equipment, sell it off, and become a monk. So they walk away when they saw Buddha, suddenly change their mind. From what they see, he has betrayed them, in a way, betrayed the path, because you start to eat, indulge. For them, what they indulge, maybe eating 2 pieces of almond is an indulgence. It's a matter of perspective, right? They see you don't eat anything, now you start to eat porridge, rice porridge, food, once per day. And now you betray the path, so we shall not follow you anymore. Let's go, guys. 5 of them just walk away. Went to this place called Lu Ye Yuan, Mrgadava. So now Buddha has finished his enlightenment, his pursuit. He already found it, he already attained it. His job is to teach. Now he wants to see someone who can accept it. And he went past and say, hey, there you go. There's 5 people that follows me before. He walked in. At first, from distance, 5 people were like, let's not pay any attention to these people. This guy has betrayed the path. He has went back to the hedonistic lifestyle. For them, hedonistic means eating a lot of food, eating food. So for them, they were like, nah, I don't want to follow. Let's not pay any attention to him. Let's not give him mats to sit on. Let's not give him water. Let's not offer any bowls of food. alms, offer any water. And then he walked in. As he get closer, everyone get drawn in like a magnet to magnets. And they were like, oh my God, he looks so different. It was not the same person they saw before. And literally, his complexion, his in the way of his gesture, his radiance, his aura is different. It's just someone is very happy. It's just like when you see someone really, really happy and they have a glow, you just feel the vibes in a sense. So they feel it. They can't help themselves. They kneel down, they give him the mat, they let him sit, and offer him water. So he start to give the talk and say, dear, oh bhikshus, or something like that. He said that do not. I have finally found the path of enlightenment, and I'm here to share with you guys. They all express a bit of doubt. It's like, have I ever claimed that I have found the enlightenment when I was with you back then? When I was practicing asceticism, when I'm practicing fasting, extreme fasting. None of them replied, but they were like, yeah, you didn't say anything about, I have found the enlightenment path. I have found the journey. So they were like very surprised. They accepted it. So now you say you have, and you do look like you found something amazing. I want to hear it. So when he started the Four Noble Truths, which we mentioned last time, right? Four Noble Truths, suffering, samsara, suffering, the cause of suffering, what accumulates the suffering, right? First is suffering itself, cool. And then second is the accumulation of the suffering. And then the third one is the elimination of suffering. The fourth is the path towards nirvana, the path after elimination, path leading towards the end of the suffering. So he mentioned that first time, immediately Kaundinya, in Chinese it's called Qiao Chen Ru, Kaundinya, Kaundinya, Bhiksu Kaundinya, immediately got it. And he started to take refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, become his official students. So he is the first monk in our era, in our Buddhist era, in this Shakyamuni Buddha era. And the first Dhamma that he gave, the one we just talk about for Noble Truth and stuff, is called Dhamma Chakra Pravatana Sutra. So just for the record, this is a reading. And 转法轮经 is called, in translating it into easier, English, Chinese is say 转法轮经, English means spinning the Dharma wheel. The sutra of spinning the Dharma wheel. Basically, he started talking about the path towards enlightenment. After that, Buddha has lived with them, 5 of them. They all took turn, 2, 3, in groups of 2, groups of 3. They have to eat, right? So 3 of them went out alms. Buddha teach the other 2. And then when it's time for Buddha, he himself also lead by example. He don't just sit there and say, get food for me. He walk out as well, let the other bhiksu, maybe Kaundinya, who already gained understand the path. Or first, he's the first guy who gained enlightenment in the way of Arahant, which I will explain later. He teaches, maybe. And then the Buddha just went out and asked for alms. They all take turns. Eventually, 5 of them got it. He repeat a few times. He just repeat a few times. Same thing, a few times. Different perspective. Maybe they have answers. They will repeat it. And they got it. And all of them, not just got it as in, oh, I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, cool. No, he sees what he sees. Because they all practice. They understand concepts. They actually practice meditation as Buddha has instructed. They just go in. They're already practicing before. They just don't know what they're looking for. They just do it. But this time they already tell you, this is how you do it. Meditative, count your breath and stuff. Those are techniques. And then they understand conceptually and spiritually, conceptually, they need to, let go of all these attachments, which I have taught in very extensive way back in Sunday. So now we talk about the 4 stages of enlightenment in the early Buddhism, the one that Buddha first introduced. this 4 stages of enlightenment, after I, process it a little bit, like right now, it actually is a way to tell us how you cultivate, basically. Those stages of enlightenment is not like giving you a certificate. Buddha's like, hey, you're a Sotapanna. Hey, now you are Sakadagami. Now you're Anagami. Hey, now you're Arahant. Congratulations. Shake your hand. Take a photo. It's not like that. That's too formalized. Buddha don't do that. So let me tell you the 4 stages. First one is Sotapanna, Shutohuan. And the second one is Sakadagami, Sutohan. The third one is Anagami, Anahan. The last one is Arahant, Arohan. So you can see Chinese literally translate without, they literally translate word for word. So first one is stream enterer. Remember, to be a qualified Buddhist student, you need to be Sotapanna. That is the hard requirement. Right? In the absence of something like Amitabha chanting, you need to at least gain Sotapanna to be safe from 3 lower realms. As we mentioned, this concept of 6 realms, Buddhist cosmology. The 6 realms, right? For us human, we are in the middle. And then we have, and in many cultures, right? We put ourselves in the middle, Midhelm, and then Vanhelm, and then Helheim, stuff like that in the Nordic. I play too much God of War, sorry guys. Point is, we're always in the middle. So same goes for Buddhist cosmology. We are human, we have animals realm lower than us, we have hungry ghosts, and then we have hell realm. The lower it gets, the harder the life is, the more pain, suffering it is. That's always because of karma, which is what we talk about in Taishan in Treatise on Response and Retribution. Now the point right now is, Sotapanna do not immune to the lower 3, not because of anything, but because of their ability to let go of the cost that affecting into these 3 lower realms. What is 3 lower realms? Greed, hatred, ignorance, right? Tan Chen Chi. 3 lower realms manifest into, if you concentrate enough, strengthen it, it becomes 3 lower realm. It becomes 3 thoughts, unwholesome thoughts, 3 poisons, we call it Santu. 3 poisons, 3 afflictions, in Buddhist term, make it very clear. It manifests into 3 lower realms. Animal is commonly commonly representing ignorance. You're ignorant of things. Hence they become less receptive of things. In terms of, they are smart animals, but they become animal instead of human. Unable to speak properly, unable to articulate. Maybe they can talk among their own kind, but they're always subject to human activities in a way. It's because they have some sort of ignorance in them that cause them to do that. A mixture of others, well, if you go into nuances, they are always mixture of hatred. If hatred is very strong, it becomes snake. 蛇的嗔恨心很强. This is a very common thing. We call it vipers, spitting poisons. Why do we describe them as that? Because they have strong hatred. Other than the vanilla base, which is the ignorance, and then they have hatred. Or if ignorance in the deeper sense, it becomes pig. That way. So there's many degree of things, just like all kinds of human in the world. There are all kinds of animal. They're very smart, wise animal. Not wise, I don't know wise, I can't understand them. But they're very smart, receptive animal. But they still become animal. Because some of them have committed lust, which is greed, lust over human. They become a dog. Lust, when they're human, they lust, unfettered sexual misconduct. They become dogs. They become birds. 隐喻性很重. Right? They can be very smart, but they still not unable to control themselves. So those are, those are the state of our mind and how it affects the external world around us. And then we have the hungry ghost, which is commonly attributed to the cause, the effect is the effect of greed, right? Unable to let go of your house. Now it becomes a ghost that roam the house, look at Hogwarts. It's very fun. But there are also other many accounts of ghosts haunting because they can't leave their house. Why? Someone's stopping them. No one's stopping them. They're attached to it. All right. Some attach their husband and wife to their spouses. Some is becoming ghosts. Some become. There's a lot of story in Buddhism. Like, hey, there's a monk, accepting offering from a lady whose husband just passed away, and the monk was like, "Stop slapping your face. Stop slapping the animal, the mosquito, or stop slapping the bugs on your face. That was your husband." It was like, what? Because they're attaching to her so much. Some of them is reborn as the animal, like bugs, insects of the book, because they love the book so much. So they literally born to the book. Maybe they're the larvae or something. Let's not go too much in that. The point is attachment. This is animal realm, but also we can describe hungry ghosts as well. But hungry ghosts in the traditional sense is they literally cannot eat. They're really, the throat will burst into fire every time they contact in food, and that's mostly because of the deeper level of karma they have done. Some of them are normal, like ghosts, like us, but in the ghost realm is different. So let's not go too far on that one. My point is attachment. There's something unresolved that caused them to stuck like that. For us, same thing. We're still human, as in we're not fully enlightened. We are not. We still have problems. We have sickness, subject to illness, to death, to all these conditions because we have not resolved it in the past, causing us to stuck like this. So back to the 4 paths, right? The 4 stages of enlightenment. Basically, if you want to gain enlightenment, the very first step, right, is Sotapanna. Sotapanna, to attain Sotapanna, one must let go, truly free, like as in the concept does not exist at all. Free from the belief that there is an unchanging self or soul in the 5 impermanent skandhas. Basically, a driver recognizing that he is not his car. You don't have to stuck with this car. It makes sense, right? It sounds ridiculous when you see that. That's exactly what Buddha is looking at us. Their perspective. When they look at us, it's like a person driving the car. Even the car is already broken down, rusty. They're still hugging the wheels, hugging the light bulbs, hugging every part of the car, unable to part with it. However, as the law of nature dictates, things will deteriorate over time, and that car no longer can function. They have no choice but to leave. So that observation is what Buddha observed, or people who enlighten observing us who stuck in this. And we can observe ourselves and other people too. So this attachment to this so-called soul. So let's use science way to break up what is souls, right? It's like what we break up the molecular world, right? Atoms and protons, neutrons, stuff like that. Those are particles. They are considered as material. They form material. So first one, physics. Physical form, your body, this world, Milky Way, blah, blah, blah. But in a more intimate way of saying it is your own body, your face, your eyeball. So I mentioned that in Sunday, when you lose your sight, does it really mean that you cannot see anymore? Or because the parts that you rely on no longer functions, like light bulb? But you still can see mentally, isn't it? The mental image. It's just the eyes that connects to the brain no longer functions. However, doesn't mean that you cannot see at all. Or it's because you get stuck in that, at this current life, this period of time, you stuck in this faculty that if you want to see, you're going to rely on your eyeball. It's like, what? Of course we need eyeballs to see. Do we have to? Right? Why like this is very meta stuff, but what we're trying to say is to understand this, right, we also need to understand that 5 skandhas. First one is physical, measuring body and everything. And second one is thought, soul, feeling, 感受, everything you feel, you know, cold, hot, mentally, maybe happy, sad, stuff like that. 想, thought, you know, thinking this, thinking that. So this is like, you know, ideas, theories, this and that, you know. And then 行, which is the why not just use technology? There you go. Form, sensation, perception, mental formation, consciousness. Oh Lord, don't need to translate so hard. Okay, yep, form, matter, physics, the realm of physics. Sensation, psychology, you know, mental. Perception, which is, you know, you perceive, you label, your emotions, right? You like, you don't like. You identify this person as this feature, these figures, and then you remember what this person did, and then blah blah blah. And then the fourth one is mental formations, 行, constructing activities, karmic activities, volition, all types of mental imprints and condition triggering by an object, any processes. So perception is just simply, what is this? Green, black, white, white, brown, up, down, left, right, you know, human, man, woman, trees. And then mental formation is adding a layer of, you know, I like this, I don't like this. So this, it links everything together. You know, it, by itself is just like that, but it changes everything together. In our sense, wandering thoughts. Why do we wandering thoughts? It starts from sleep, food. I eat a lot of food, I go to sleep, and then it becomes endless chain of thoughts that wanders everywhere, unconcentrated. And if this thing keeps running, when you sleep, it's shutting down the obvious side. The subconscious is still working. It's still giving in terms of dream. Sometimes you don't have dreams because it's not strong enough. Sometimes it's strong enough. Those activities do not stop. Even your body dies, it keeps going. That's how your 6 realms is formed. The last one is consciousness. And this is what I say. Consciousness is awareness of an object and discrimination of its component aspects. In Mahayana source, the base that supports all experience. So this is what I'm trying to say is, I always come from Mahayana perspective, right? The 8 perception, the 8 consciousness, 八识50亿心所. So in Chinese Buddhism, right, when we imported the tradition of Mahayana, we have developed so well on the, well, they developed very well in India, and we inherited them. The idea of 8, the conscious only school, and championed by Maitreya Buddha, Bodhisattva Maitreya. This school talks about very, in a way, very close to science. Like it's something very familiar with when you study science. You break down the sense of sight, you know, stimuli, and then the ability to see, and the stimuli that makes you see, blah blah blah. My point is, we all have 8 conscious, all right? And when we talk about Buddha nature, the relationship between Buddha nature and this consciousness, you know, accumulation of mental activities, is like a moon and the reflection of the moon. 水中月, moon represents our true nature. Reflection of the moon represents the consciousness. So whatever consciousness is a projection of the true nature, or rather a perversion of the true nature. Right? The origin of you, essence of being, of unbeing, the concept of being, unbeing already defeat the purpose of the true nature. I'm going like really physical with that. This is part of the Buddhism as well. See, it can be very deep. But the point right now in practical sense is all this consciousness that we talk about, the 8 consciousness, right? If we break it down, the first 5 is common. It's already covered in science. 6 is as well, psychology. The first 5, sight, right? Smell, touch, taste, what else? Sight, touch, hearing, hear. So the 5 senses. The 5 senses is the first 5, right? It's an extension of the consciousness. And then we go to number 6, thought, our mental activity. But number 6 is only like here we saw percepts. They only give, classifications, execute, differentiate things, grouped it into box categories. And those are comfortable in the comfortable realm of modern science. They talk about all these neural activities, the pulses and all that. But our concentration is the last 2, the 8 consciousness and the 7 consciousness. Those things were not well known by science yet. They were not advanced enough. But Buddha already mentioned it. The 8th consciousness is the storehouse consciousness, where it stores everything you have done in the storehouse. It's not physical, of course. There's no how many data you deal with computer, gigabytes. No, it's not. There's no limit to this. Endless, boundless. Because true nature is endless, boundless. It's just perverted into this. So now we have 8 consciousness as a storage of warehouse. 7 consciousness is the one that I like, I hate. All right, I want, I crave. So he received the information from the let me see Mahayana. They receive information from from whatever they see. Yogacara. Yeah, babe. Yeah. For my favorite part. No, not this one. Let's not go too far on this. Yeah. There we go. Deluded awareness. Hey, that's good. It's applying lens, colored lens, to what they observe. First 5 is just a job. All you do is just collect the information, right? It's not your tongue that craves the food. Don't say that. It's unfair to the tongue. Tongue's job is just to identify sweet, sour, or not. It's not his fault, in a sense. The fault lies on the 7th consciousness. I like sweet. I hate bitter. And that's why when you understand this level, go back to Buddha's precept, you will respect Buddha even more. He do not say nonsense. He do not set stupid rules. He do that out of necessity because you want to get enlightenment. This is how it works. If you don't have the prior knowledge, it's fine. He already know. Trust him. Right? His credential is solid. So basically what we're talking about is manas, mona, alaya consciousness, alaya vijnana, alaya consciousness, storehouse, repositories. So number 7 is a problem here. Number 7 is the guy that always say, I don't like this, I like this. All my emotion in the very early stuff is the number 7. All right. Now I can be clear about that. But when you caught up into it, you get caught up into it. Number 6 is just thoughts, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like I'm thinking right now, like I'm linking things into coherent sentences. That's thoughts. I'm linking 5 senses information into a coherent stuff. And then up to my 7 to interpret. So understanding the 5 skandhas is understanding this one, the 8 consciousness. And understand this 8 consciousness, we understand that all these things are aggregations, clinging. They're all clinging. And they are not to be taken as ourself. We call ourself, say, obviously no one identify, I'm my tongue, I'm my eye. Those things gone. I'm my body, your hand's gone. Is your hand still yours? Right? It's just a lump of materials. Of course it will be painful and all that. But It's easier to understand that body is not you. But what about the thoughts? You're not your thoughts as well. There are Descartes' way of saying, I think therefore I am, is advanced than, it's more advanced than say I stuck to my body as existent. But it's not permanent. It's not you as well. Because if it's you, it shouldn't change. It should follow your direction. But your thoughts, sometimes you can't control it. Uncontrolled emotions, uncontrolled outbursts, uncontrolled actions, right? Uncontrolled speech. Sometimes, or if you very well control at the end of your life, you can't control it anymore. That's not you. So here, to enter Sotapanna, you need to be able to overcome all these 5 skandhas, all right? Not in depth, but at least you do not allow it to link to you. So you're already no longer attached to it. And then rites and rituals, it means that stucking in a way of doing things. It has to be A, it has to be B. Everything else must be wrong. Doubt about the teachings. There's no one doubt about Buddha's Dhamma. So he have full gain confidence in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Those are qualifications of a Sotapanna. And one who achieved that will not know that. They will only people who higher than him or same level as him will recognize it. It's basically like you there, the Buddha will say, hey man, you were there. And then you were like, oh, I'm there. I'm here. You don't know because you're already being in this state. You don't think about, Sotapanna. You're just concentrating. So same goes for the rest. You can see that this is like letting go the sensual desire and ill will, the negative thoughts, the greed, hatred, ignorance. These are gradual process. Lighten up the load. Let the effect of anger lessen on you. Effect of hatred lessen on you. The effect of sensual desires, sexual desire, and all the cravings is lesser and lesser. Until number 3, they still have sensual desire. Until number 3, they have not let go, 100% let go of lust. The lust is fully free after number 3, I think. Yeah. So these are very minute stuff. These are considered level 1. And then you have a lot more to do after you achieve Arahant. And all this has to do with your concept of, do you want to practice just for yourself, or do you want to practice to save all sentient beings? And more practical way, you want to expand your horizon. You want to learn for the sake of other beings, not just enjoying your own enlightenment. You want full enlightenment for all sentient beings. That needs a huge commitment. But we do not want to go too far. What Buddha say in the early Buddhism right here is the 4 stages of enlightenment. 4 stages of enlightenment teaches us, understanding this helps us to appreciate. It's not easy. Because the first one is the criteria. You need to let go of 我执. What is 我执? In Chinese, it's hard to, some of us sometimes lump together. We don't understand. We need to understand that we are not our eyes, our 5 senses. We are not our thoughts. We are not our perceptions, our, consciousness. And those things are, how to say, we have to come back to it until we become Buddha. These are simply, do not associate yourself with them anymore. You are fully aware, you have that recognition of, I'm no longer my body. I'm only using it for now. I literally think of that. And I will not fear this kind of, death and stuff. Because death for me is like drivers stepping down from one car to another. And this is not just conceptual, but I'm actually witnessing it. I'm actually understanding it. That means you are not allowing that thoughts, wandering thoughts to become something attachment. You will still come, it will still overwhelm you, stuff like that, but you have the ability to not phased by it. You're able to recover, you're able to not allowing it to touch you. You do not allow it to cling onto anything. It passed by. It will just pass by. You recognize it. You're able to recognize every part of it. As in, this is not right, this is not right, this is not right. So you recognize it, you put it in words, it will no longer cling on you. And it's that all the feeling, and that's why you have level 2, level 3. It gets weaker. But right now, first step is to set your path right. You do not attach to yourself. Attach to the false sense of self. Hence why we say let go of the ego. Ego in this term is false sense of self. Identifying something that are not you as you. And hence putting too much effort into something futile. In the end of the day, subject to rebirth. And all the deeds you did for this false sense of you, false you, becomes karmic activities. It keeps replicating itself and hence causing more sufferings. Those things are, those things are very tricky. You need to practice. That's why they need meditation. They need to have precepts. They need to eat. When they eat, they cannot picky, because you get attached to the taste. And then when you sleep, right, you have to sleep on different places so that you don't get attached to that spot. This is my spot. This is comfy. It's very easy to attach, mate. Look at ourselves then. It just takes very easy. You take a little bit of comfort and pleasure, and then we get attached. That's why we all get stuck on these little things, and we forgot how to get out of here. Or we get stuck in anger. Someone scold you, and then your mind keeps spinning. So this is the skandha, right? Look at the skandha, mate. Mental formations. Oh, scold me. Oh, that emotion. Like doing it again. Same goes with lust. Sensual desire. Oh, you like that moment. And then you keep repeating it. I'm no free of it. I don't say as if I'm still in the middle of this mess. That's what I'm trying to say here is it's not easy. But standard do not drop. Just because we have Amitabha, Buddhas, they do not drop the standard for us. They're just allowing us a way to a way to another platform before this. Right? When we get up there, we're still fanfu. We're still like ordinary beings. We have not attained this by ourselves. But we gain all this and more than these 4 benefits. This enlightenment experience due to the vow of Amitabha Buddha. That's the most miraculous part about him. Why Buddha praise him so much. Not just our Shakyamuni Buddha in this world, but thousands of Buddhas, endless Buddha, all praise him. If you read the sutra, I'm pretty sure there's an English summary of that. They say, the Buddha from the west, the Buddha from the east, west and east in the sense of, the universal direction. Those directions because we always have direction sense. Buddha does not need that. They say it for our benefit. Or the north, the south. We say the Western Pure Land. Why is it Western Pure Land? And just for us to have a sense of direction so we can focus. Is Buddha really only in the West? And does it have to go through 10 Buddha's Pure Land? No. Buddha Pure Land is here. But the problem is, if you say it now, it's here. Sure. It is here. You can be, one moment you can change into that, but can you? I can't. Alright, so we need to focus on a sense of direction. Focus on Amitabha. Focus on one thing. Because our mind is already scattered by all these senses. We can't focus. We over bombarded by A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So back to this, Buddha has given these talks and all of them attain Arahant. What is Arahant? Free from all 5 lower fetters and 5 higher fetters. Attachment to the 4 meditative absorption. Attachment to the 4 formless absorption. Conceit, restlessness, ignorance. Alright? Comes at once, and instead does not come gradually. All 4 levels according to levels attainment. Alright? Progress in understanding comes at once. Insight does not come gradually, successfully. Classification is for the rapid forward attains suddenly for a reason. Theravada, aha is created by 4, although in the path gradual gnosis are the most direction. So different people, different level. We can't just and in the material world, in the outside world, what does it mean? First, once you reach the first level, you no longer subject to 3 lower realms. You only human heaven 7 times. And then as you improve, this 7 times is to teach you, is to lessen the grip of the world have on you. Now you have only 1 more time before you can go into the pure abodes in heavenly realm. There's a heavenly realm which I've shown you in the pyramid scheme. There is a block where only people who cultivate the path of Buddha Dhamma can enter. Those are the state of mind, right? The rest of the world, the heaven, they do not practice that. Even they have the same meditative ability, their direction is not there, so they can't comprehend or they can't enter that state. So the last one is no rebirth. That means no longer stuck in 6 realms. They are out of 6 realms. 四圣法界, right? Just when we thought, oh, that's it, that's not it. Yeah, Buddha is just being very patient. He's starting with this small stuff. It's not small for us, mate. It's huge. It takes many lifetimes. But from the perspective of full enlightenment, this is only primary school, graduating primary school, or in university terms, graduating bachelor degree. There are so many more to do. It's just a beginning. It just means, hey man, you're no longer stuck in 6 realms, but you still have vow to invoke and all that. Those are what we call ladder approach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And later you will came to appreciate how Pure Land works. And then this knowledge helps you to consolidate your understanding of Buddhism. It's not just, you can't be impatient with Buddhism. You have to be putting your life and many lives to work on it. Now you have this one life that you can use the advantage, the multiplier by Amitabha Buddha. Appreciate it. Right? That's the whole point of us having this Buddha story. Those are very good stuff, you know. I don't want to go too deep on the Arahant level because I myself have not studied too in depth. Those are awakenings. Those are, freeing from this erroneous view and beginning of a enlightenment, a path of true happiness in a way. What is happiness in a sense, right? No longer get stuck. You're free. But what we need to learn from this is Buddha has given the second sutra at the time, Anatta Lakkhana Sutra. That means he teach about this, hence they are able to attain enlightenment because he teach them the characteristics. He's already there. He just tell them how it's like when you attain Arahant, the first stage of enlightenment. It's hard to say. First stage of Nirvana. All right. There are 4 original stages to attain. First stage of Nirvana. Okay, let's put it that way, and we'll leave it there. Without complicating it further, what we need to take out of this is Buddha has a system in place. He do not teach people more than they can understand. They will gradually improve that. From here, we appreciate why he took 12 years or 12 years, I think. 22 years or 12 years to propagate the foundation stuff. Because without that, Nikaya, which teach all about this one, is 12 years. It takes 12 years to teach all this. Right? Because this is not just talking. Not like this. It's not talking. They actually practice. Right? Some people get it at once. Some people slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some people very sharp. They just got it when you hear it. Because they're experiencing exactly what he says. This all has to do with, like we say, people who are wealthy, esteemed, they have their past life practice. Same goes for Buddhist cultivation, their past life practice. Right? And in Buddhism, there's no room for jealousy for that. Because literally, this whole thing is to tell us. Right? People cultivate it a lot. So we should do the same. For us, we need to focus on Amitabha, focus on, appreciating how Buddha make it so accessible for us. Right? how did Amitabha relate to this one? Right? First, it has the vow of Amitabha to help us no longer fall into 3 lower realms. But especially for us who can't rely on our own faculties because of external element and because of our mindset, we have not fully having the environment to learn about this, or we don't have the ability to finish this off in one life, and we have no guarantee of next life we can still be as lucky as this. So we used Amitabha to suppress all this negative or erroneous view. That means you need to let go of all other thoughts, thinking, schools. You need to focus on the name of the Amitabha. And you appreciate this in a way that you can now put your heart at ease. And we will go deeper and we'll understand better. The 8 consciousness school that we talk about, right, is to explain it further, like how skanda works and stuff. But its proper value is, why are we here? Why are we who we are? Why are we acting like that? Why am I uncontrollable in this situation? Because the 7 consciousness, the 7 perception is kicked in place, attached. And the 8 consciousness is the storehouse that admits a lot of information from the past history. That past can be past life. We call past life as in we group ourselves in different period of time of existing. We stop existing when our 5 senses our body no longer works. The problem is the ability to see, ability to hear, it will never be lost. Right? It will just be restricted to different stuff, depends on what you attach. All this is because you attach. If you don't attach, there's no need to rely on eyeballs to see. You already can see. Oh my God, it's like a person who can walk, they're still holding onto the rail because he fears that he can't walk. Or another case, a lion shackled to the chain, and he has been shackled since he was a cub, maybe in a zoo, in a old-fashioned zoo or carnivals, and now he's grown into a strong adult lion, all the mane and stuff, looking very majestic. Still, he doesn't dare to move out of the range of the chain because he conditioned to believe the chain is stronger than him. Right? It's called learned helplessness. Right? And he can even easily get rid of the chain or break the chain easily with his strength, but he no longer knows. That's us. Right? That's us. We already have ability to see here. Of course, I can do it now. You pluck my eyes out, I will be like, But we do need to know we've been attaching this for too long. That's why we can't. Not because we really can't, because we are conditioned to believe we can't. Who conditioned you? Yourself, your erroneous view, your attachments to it. It's causing us a lot of problem, causing yourself a lot of problem. And this attachment getting stronger and stronger, it forms the world around us. Right? So hence the conclusion of all phenomena arise from the heart. 万法唯心造. And then if we read the Chinese conclusion of the consciousness on this school, 三界唯心，万法唯识. The 3 realms, right? 三界唯心，万法唯识. So what kind of concept? Why not? Go for the soul. 大乘白法明门论 alright? 三界一切有漏无漏，由八识心王所有，乃至无漏也因八识心王而现。Yeah. So, the whole point of saying is the 3 realms, right? That means the 6 realms. These are our Remember, Master Ching Kung used a lot of the consciousness on his school. Remember, all people who study Buddhism back then, and they're serious about it, they actually start with consciousness on his school. It's just a tool, very helpful to help you to make sense of what's going on. Alright? 建立一个除的概念 三界唯心万法离世，三乘佛法。Let's not go there. This is gonna make things more complicated. Whole point is why we say true nature or phenomena arise from our true nature. It's because of our true nature, like kaleidoscopes. It has been reflected in the different ways. Moon is still moon, doesn't change, but the water ripples, everything changes, and everything in the world is reflected from there, from the true nature. It's just a reflection of ourself, true self. It's not ourself. It's just reflection. You are not that mirror, that you in the mirror, right? Even you can see my image here. It's not me. It's just the light reconstruct my face, reflected my texture into this, my features into this screens. The screen replicate my movements like this. So same goes for our body and sport. It's in a larger scale, right? We are also a reflection of our true nature. We are not stuck like this. We are not only limited to this, right? And that gives us a very strong outlook. You know, you can be better. And how to be better? How to improve yourself? You know, all this learning of Liao Fan, learning of Tai Seng Gai Pen, learning of Amitabha Buddha, for have belief in yourself, belief in your true nature, start to come together. See, there's a system, and that's what my goal is trying to do. Of course, I need to practice better, but this is how I came to understand Buddhism as well. I start with the basic Buddhism, the 4 realms, and then I start to contact with Mahayana. I start to understand that, oh my goodness, there's so much things, so deep, but so systematic. You need to grab the core of it. 抓着纲领, Venerable Cheng to say, you need to grab the index of things, core of things. Alright? If you don't understand any of this and you earnestly chanting Amitofo, you will still understand, you get better understanding in Pure Land. Doesn't matter. The practical purposes, all you need to do is just chanting Amitofo, have a vow to bond in Pure Land. Current life, having this knowledge helps you to relay to yourself and other people why Buddhism is the way it is, why you practice Pure Land Buddhism, and why Buddhism has this huge encyclopedia of stuff. And what is Buddhism, right? Whole point is Buddha means awakening. Why is Buddha showing this? So looking at his life, we will understand better what are we learning. So right now we already reached that conclusion, right? Our existence is because of so much chains of event we put ourselves in, and it becomes a result. This process keeps spinning, spinning wheel that never ends. So our job is to stop adding to it. Start, pointing ourselves, our compass towards a direction. How do you do that? How do you find yourself a certain amount of peace? You make use of this kind of session. In my case, this is how I remind myself. I'm lost in normal times when I'm free and stuff like that. So this is how we work towards that. You have your own circumstances. You find your own way. Like you make videos, you understand that for Auntie's situation. Some people as well. Master Ching Kong used to force him to talk himself. Talk about sutra. Not because anything, but he just wants to be reminded all the time. So we have a set routine to teach ourselves. That's why Buddha also set a routine for, when you sleep, when you actually follow him, you follow his routine, you understand deeper, better. It's a more intense way. Everyone's condition is different. And the power of Amitabha Buddha's name is because it can be used anytime, anywhere, charged up by his vow. And if we understand our foundation as human beings and using Amitabha on top of this foundation, it will help us not just go to Pure Land, that one is the big one, but of course it will help us with our current life, right? Some people takes this much time to get there. Some people very quickly can get into it. I need a lot of time. I understand that. So despite whatever emotions I'm having, I'm still having to do that because we all have the same amount of goal. We appreciate it. We understand that This is what I need to do in order to get out of 6 realms, so that I can have better faculties. I don't get attached by these small things, sensations and feelings. So all the best, guys. All the best. It's learning Buddhism is not easy than we thought, but it is easy. To do it is just chanting Amitabha. Putting your heart one-minded, concentrated on that. But to explain it, it would take many lifetimes to explain it. Buddha is only talking about the summary of it. Right? Why do we need to explain it? To be honest, when you're experiencing it, to be able to teach, to do and teach, is another skill set than just doing it. Right? So Arahant can do some, but some of them cannot teach. You need to teach properly. You need to understand the other side. That's another set of skill you need to have. 自修自度度他嘛. So I would like to stop here because it's 11. It's been like 2 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours and a half. Thank you so much. I think that's the recap and plus, not just recap, but plus. Thank you so much for the session, and we'll continue. Well, let's talk about Venerable Wuling session this Sunday. They will be talking about Wuling session this Sunday. Monday, I think I will go back to normal and talk about it, but I think I'll make it 45 minutes or something. I don't want to drag it too long. I already overdo it this time, so I'll cut it down shorter. Thank you. It helps me as well in clearing my mind, calming down as well. I was not calmed down in the beginning. It's just all sorts of rubbish in my mind, to be honest. It needs to be cleared out. I understand why Master Chi Kung tell me to 讲经, not because I'm very good at it. It's because I can be good at it, but the main reason is because this is something I need to do to remind ourselves. Like basically how he do it to himself. We just need to cut down the desire. To be honest, in my experience, need to cut down the commitment, to reduce the pursuit, and be patient. Need to be really patient. Something I haven't fully learned is I need to be patient about it. Need to stand up when it's time to stand up. Need to go out there and do things. But when it's time to slow down, it's time to slow down. Like always have a middle path in your mind when you do things. Don't get sucked in. And when it's time to break. Do not allow intrusive thoughts to overcome it. If we have a proper routine in place, no matter how busy you are, you're actually feeling a sort of Dharma joy. That's why I always end up in a situation where I hated it before I do it. When I do it, I kind of okay. And then when I go on with it, I actually liked it. So this is a very conflicting waves. You know, the Dylan now is different from Dylan 10 minutes ago, but it's also different from Dylan 10 minutes later. This inconsistency that comes to and fro is something I have to experience and deal with. It's something I need to get out of, but patience and building that character, building that habit is, you need environment as well, right? That's why I implore you, if you have a chance, always, talk it out with Eric or something, always go to an environment to inspire yourself so that you understand, why am I doing this? Because if you're by yourself and listening to this is good, but when you see someone in action, doing things, then it can be wonderful as well. But not everyone needs that. For my case, time to time always need that. That's why I have the tempo going on. That even though sometimes I don't feel like doing it, but when I do it, I'm actually liking it. So don't. Buddha has a word saying, 生勿信如意，如意不可信. Do not trust your own thoughts. You're not your thoughts. Those thoughts come and go, right? Do not rely and pitch in on that. Instead, you rein it in, channel it into the direction that you want it. Like that makes sense. Or make sure that it is consistent. Right? Understand that all this frames per second mindset, like everything is changing, but you always that's why you accord with condition. See, it all makes sense. 为什么要随缘? Accord with condition, because nothing is solitary, permanent. Everything you immerse, you're in this environment where everything is constructed artificially, perverted in a sense of no longer fully connected to the true nature, but twisted, right? And hence we need to go back. How do we go back? When all this teaching us how to be more loving person, compassionate person. Start with your parents, your siblings, your friends, your colleagues and strangers. This is why they will teach that. And it goes backwards, tracing your step back. And then you lost again in the sea of sensories, all this lust, all this exciting stuff. That's my experience at the moment. And over the top and spend my energy pursuing the excitement. And then it gets weakened. And then lose your pace, lose your footing. As in, you got the ball, and then you lose it. And then you need to chase the ball again, get it back. And the longer you can hold the ball, that means the longer you can apply right amount of discipline, right amount of willpower, right amount of determination, the longer you can hold it. And this is the race of how long you can hold it. Because like Nianfo, right? You need to apply it so that you become unconscious when you chant it. You're not just consciously chanting it. That's not enough. There's like 4 stages of competence I accidentally open up. There are the top 2 is conscious competence, and the top is unconscious competence. Unconsciously, you know how to do it. All right. So the bottom one is unconscious incompetence. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know that you don't know. Or you don't know that you don't know how to do it. Oh God. And then conscious incompetence. You know that you can't do this. So I'm like, I don't know this. I know that I don't know how to do this. I know that I can't do this. Doesn't mean that you can't. It's just right now you can't. Your problem is so many. You're in the middle of the test, of the wave, riptide. You can't get out of it, but you need to get out of it. That's level 2. Now you know that you don't know. First thing is you don't even know you don't know. That's like, I don't know I'm wrong. I don't think it's wrong. You don't know that you are wrong. All right. Worst thing is you thought you're right. That's even worse. So now you know that you're wrong. That's level 2. Level 3 is now I know how to do this, but I need to apply constant, vigilance. I need to like hold the ball and all that. Then the last stage is, as you can see, the skillful people, master and all that, 随缘自在嘛. They literally like do nothing and then they still do it right. That's like when you see someone just do something very well, they don't talk. They just talk to you and they keep drawing, and it's like, yeah, suddenly the whole drawing is beautiful. Or like old chef, they don't talk. They just talk to you, but when they slice the garlic up and everything's just perfect. It's called unconscious competence. Nianfo 也是 yeah. When you chant Amitabha, chant until a level where you don't think about chanting. You just chant. It's just like breathing. And then you go on with your life, cleaning, whatever, do your job, go on life. You still have that going on. Holy moly. That's how you make it. That's how you know you make it. What we have right now, in case of my case, I can't speak for everyone. I don't have the experience and vision. That's too arrogant of me to say. But for my case, at least in my case, this helplessness is very painful. But the problem is we always make ourselves helpless. That's the problem. We reject the opportunities sometimes to get help. Sometimes we close up our mind like a perception, and it's always like that. My dynamic with this group or these people is like that, or my perception of myself is always like that. I cannot. Don't do that to yourself. Always allow a bit of opening, no matter how hard it is, and that opening might be the chance for you to break it through next level. Maybe you go back again, but now you taste second level, you will like, nah man, I'm going back, and then you get pushed out, and then you're going back, and then you get pushed out. So Huang Lianzu Lao Jushi, which is the Mr. Huang, right? I think you heard of it. Huang Lianzu Lao Jushi. Master Huang, he is the one that wrote the book, and wrote a commentary on the Infinite Life Sutra. Master Chin Kung respect him immensely, and he's the Bodhisattva Guan Yin come again. So basically what he say is, practicing in 6 realms is 10 steps forward, 9 steps back. That's good. That means you're moving forward. Right? Of course, there are cases like 10 steps forward, 12 steps back. That's bad. It get worse and worse and worse. But our hope is you at least 1 step forward. And when you're going through 10 steps forward, do not get arrogant, because you will get pushed back to normal. 9 steps back to reality. But this reality is changing a little bit. You're no longer stuck in the old mode. You start to see there is a possibility. You already tasted the 10th step. Even you can't hold it. You can hold a ball. You can hold a ball that long. Next time you have that wow. You have the view to get better. This is how we practice. 念佛也好，什么都好， like your video recording, making as well. Now you like tasted that, joy or that moment. People give you their feedback and stuff, and then suddenly you understand that I need to do this better. You harness, you sharpen the sword to a level. So 念佛 is the same thing. You just sharpen it until that point of perfection. However, you need to have the right set of belief and vow. If you just do it for the sake of fortune, then of course it would just be normal fortune. But if you actually do it because you want to help people around you, or your loved ones, or your parents in China, or your adopted parents, it doesn't matter. Your people around you, or Melinda, or someone else, you have that vow very strong. You can't step back. You need to move forward. And then when you use that mindset to chant Amitabha, that is the most powerful Amitabha you have. Even you just chant 10 times. 那个值, 那个 quality is very good. Quality of that moment is strong. As in you're very concentrated at the moment. The intention is very pure and very powerful. So always practice this. Get better at the same thing that you're doing. Like Bruce Lee say, right? I do not fear a person who can throw 1,000 types of punches. I fear those person who can throw practice one punches 1,000 times. Because he get that 水滴石穿, he get that penetration level that no one can imagine. All it takes is one punch, and then not referring to the anime, but yeah, that one punch, that focus. All right, thank you. 阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛。Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Auntie Yinzi. Thank you. Good night. Good morning to you. Good night to myself. Bye-bye.